I absolutely love that. I know I say it every single time. Joel Felsenstein, thank you so much. My brother from another mother in the UK. Can't wait for you to come back to the States, my friend. You and Matt, come on back to the United States. We can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for that intro video. We've used that ever since you created it for us. We love it. But let's talk about our great partners for tonight's episode. Jen Lynn, the Uniqua New Beauty Norm LLC. She is so crazy talented. Avant-garde branding. You need to get in touch with this lady. Have her do some of your videos. Have her do your marketing campaigns. Get her into what you're doing for your branding. She's phenomenal. Nick and Guy Galindo, thank you so much for coming to our March event, being there and with your husband and helping us out as a volunteer. Great to see you in person. Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing. She is incredible. I've had the pleasure of working with her directly in one of her anthologies. Just phenomenal. Tucker Bascom and the Sustain Network. Man, he's got these fantastic micro classes. And I'm a culinary guy. I'm a geek, for those of you that know. And I love getting these leadership classes in my phone, little text, real quick messages, 2-3 minutes that you can do, helping you with your EQ, helping you with your leadership skills, helping you with conflict resolution. Absolutely fantastic. And our very new sponsor that I'm so proud to have on board is ourmerchpage.com. And Tisha and Ginger, thank you so much for meeting with me earlier today. Cannot wait for us to start out, but I'm going to show you this video and then I'm going to bring the guys on. Wrong video. Let me try again. Whether you're a nonprofit, church, school, or business, let ourmerchpage.com become an extension of your marketing team. They'll handle the design, sourcing, fulfillment, and management of your merchandise marketing needs so you can stay focused on what ourmerchpage.com. Cannot wait. For those of you that are wondering, we still use QBC. Quita Brew Creates from Etsy. She does all our fantastic mugs and swag that we use and our gift bags and stuff like that. What we're going to be doing with ourmerchpage.com is creating t-shirts. We've never had the opportunity to do that and really make it worthwhile. Now we're going to be able to do that for not only our events for sponsors, but for our own logoed stuff. And wait till you see what we have planned. So excited. Watch this video and I'm going to bring the guys up now. All right, in the house today, and it just so happens that you guys all came in the same way that we had it planned out. So I'm excited to have Christopher Farrington, Jamie JT Mullinax, and Peter Glazier in the house. They are 3 of the 4 guys behind Corsair Racing. You might remember about 10 months ago, we had the guys on before. And man, the questions and all of you that came out to see them and watch after the fact, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate their story, and we're going to dive into it tonight. But first, Peter, tell us a little bit about what is Corsair Racing?
Yeah, Corsair Racing is a 501c3 nonprofit that empowers veterans by fostering resilience and camaraderie through the sport of ocean rowing. So we take veterans, get them out on the water in a team environment, in a challenging environment, and see that as providing the tools that are necessary to combat some of the challenges affiliated with transitioning in life or transitioning from the military in particular.
Absolutely love that. I know I said before the show. I'm in my 4th year of working with American Corporate Partners, or ACP, to mentor veterans that are transitioning into civilian life. And I'm so excited about the latest mentee that I have. And he's doing some amazing things and around the nonprofit and HR realm. So it's right up my alley. And I love what you guys are doing. I love what you guys are doing, man. So we're going to start. We're going to go from kind of clockwise on my screen. Christopher Farrington, please tell us how you got involved with Corsair Racing, please.
Yeah, so I got a call from one of our other members, Blake Sufferling, and he sent me this weird text with the world's toughest row on there. And, you know, Blake's always been into kind of, you know, crazier, weird stuff. And I didn't even click on the link. I was just like, oh, it's just Blake being Blake. So he calls me later that afternoon and he was like, what do you think? And I'm like, about what? What are you talking about? So he made me click the link. We went through it together. He like babysat me through looking at it on my phone, and then was like, you know, I got a couple guys. We're doing this. Are you in? And I took a look at my wife, and she was like, say yes. And I was like, yes. Not even knowing what the mission turned out to be and what it is now, but you know, just that I was in a space where I was retiring out of the military and was kind of like lost in the sauce. And you know, I don't know, you know, what power came to, but you know, just so happened that Blake was doing something and yanked me into it, and now it's like all I want to do. It's awesome.
Tell people what you were doing in the military.
So for the past 16 years, I've been a Green Beret with 5th Special Forces Group. Prior to that, in the infantry, and I'll be retiring in September at 21 years.
Wow. Congratulations, man. And thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Jamie, JT, tell us how you got involved with these guys.
So me and Pete, we worked at the Joint Training Readiness Center at Fort Polk now, which is Fort Johnson in Louisiana. I was the senior enlisted advisor. He was one of the team leads for when the special operations come there for training. We do the coach, train, and mentor them through the 2 weeks to 3 weeks of training. And it kind of sets them up for their deployments or readiness altogether. So I retired after 30 years. I was in Canada on a fishing trip. Pete hit me up and said, hey, JT, would you like to do this Corsair Racing? We're going to do an ocean row across the Pacific to Hawaii. I thought it was a joke. And I was like, hey, I'm literally on a boat in Canada. What I want to be going across in an ocean rowboat. But then, you know, I told him once I got back from Canada, please send me the pitch deck. He sent it to me. I kind of readjusted a couple things. And now here we are, you know, a year and a half later, and we're getting ready to row across the Pacific.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's incredible. I literally know one other person, and it's so funny that he was a special operator as well. And you guys all know him, Robert Hamilton Owens. And I tracked him and watched. I had heard him speak, and I got to meet him virtually through the Outlier Project. And that's where I met Pete's mom, and literally watched him do this, tracking him as he crossed the ocean. And then this great video they did afterwards where it's, you know, one is too many. And it was for the Mark Courage Foundation and suicide prevention and awareness. But I love what you guys are doing. I don't know how you get ready for something like that. Just looking at the boat and the space that you have to be in like that already, I'm like, no, I'm out. But man, you guys are incredible. Pete, how did you get involved with these guys?
Yeah, so actually this whole thing started, I was on vacation with my wife in Antigua, and it was her and I, another couple, and we had just rented a boat and driven it around the south side of the island to go to this place called Admiral's Cove. And that happens to be where the Atlantic race finishes. And so we had docked our boat and we were walking up the dock to go on Sundays, I believe, at this place, Admiral's Cove. They do a sunset celebration like every Sunday up on a hill. And the race was finishing during that. We were going to that. And I walked by the boats just roped up along the dock and had the same moment that we see people have with us all the time. I was like, what is that? Like, that doesn't make sense. You know, looking for some type of tiny motor on the bottom, no sail. And so I went up to that celebration. I got to talk to a handful of teams that had finished the race and kind of just had an aha moment. I wanted to do it. So I hit up Blake. He was in right away. And then we started the process of like figuring out logistically what it would take and ultimately like the cost and everything. And we were still in the Army. It kind of pushed us away from it. But then in a transition group, somebody had posted, anybody want to row across the ocean? And that's how we kind of started building again. Our mission is morphed over time to support veterans. And I think it's been really fun to watch. I enjoyed listening to Chris and JT answer those questions because it like brings me back. It feels like forever ago. We were just kicking off and we were like, oh yeah, we'll raise $1 million like it's nothing.
Yeah, you would think that it just like people hear about it, they go, oh man, that's fantastic, and they just empty their wallet. But it's, you know, it's a little challenging.
No, it's been starting a business, I imagine in general, is challenging. This has been incredibly challenging, but like they said, in a couple of weeks, our first guys are rowing across the ocean. And I look at that as like mission success.
Absolutely. For those of you that are watching this either now live on one of the channels or that are going to do it after the fact, or we love our team replay, scan that QR code right over Chris's left shoulder, and that'll take you to their website. Yeah, fantastic. Good job, Vanna. That's fantastic. And that takes you to their website. You can find out more about what they're doing. You can see how you can get involved, and you can donate. Empty out the pockets and help these men because they need it, and they're doing great work for our veteran community. So, you know, one of my first questions to the whole group, and I'd love for you all to weigh in if you've got something to say about it, but why ocean rowing?
Who wants to take it first?
Yeah, I mean,
we all have 3 different answers.
Yeah. You know, for me, it's coming out of such a challenging occupation in the military. Coming out of that, I always look for something that's crazy, or, you know, something that's a tad dangerous. And kind of where it hit me after I started my retirement process of like, oh man, I'm never going to get that adrenaline dump ever again. When this came up, it was like, oh, well, there it is. I'm going to get plenty of adrenaline dump from that. Especially when the swell is 30 to 40 feet high. So for me, the challenge, and then just being a part of this crew and what we hope to do for others in the future is it's given me so much drive and focus. I have something I'm going for, something I want to accomplish. I've got, 3 new brothers, and we just hope to grow from there and just form this fantastic community and get some of these veterans that might be struggling or, whatever the case may be to do the same thing that I'm about to do here in June 7th.
I have to ask before anybody else weighs in on this. How do you train for a 30 or 40 foot swell?
So we actually, the world's toughest row requires you to have hours on the ocean with your boat as a full crew. And so we just finished that up in April with a 4.5-day row from Amelia Island in Florida up to Tybee Island, Georgia. So, wow. We didn't get 30 to 40, but we got some pretty good winds and at least, JT, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking like 12 to 15 foot swells. So still baby waves compared to what we're going to get in the Pacific, but, just getting out in the ocean and practicing, we call like the box technique, is where you go for 2 hours, north, then 2 hours east, then 2 hours south, and 2 hours west. And you just keep doing that and letting the waves crash at you at different sides of the boat so you can get that feeling.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. So you guys, we'll have to talk about this in a minute, but going back to ocean rowing, anybody else want to weigh in on their take on why it's so important or why it's so effective?
I think Chris touched on like the adventure and adrenaline aspect. I think that's a big part of it. I think there's also a big part of it it's like niche. It's not a lot of people have done this. More people have been to outer space than have crossed the Pacific Ocean in a rowboat. And I think there's something appealing to like a team of 4 of you working together on a problem set again. That to me was like, it's 4 people working in very tight knit together for an entire deployment, if you will. It feels very familiar. I think that's why it's helpful as well. It's like the long duration for some is a drive, and for many, it's the exact opposite.
Wow. JT, anything to add?
Yeah, just for me is really, the camaraderie of, leaving the military and having, a great network of friends that you've had. And now you've separated yourself by thousands of miles. So, it's hard to, to stay in contact with people that far away. And so with this, it kind of brought it back because we are separated. We got one in Charleston, we got, Chris in Tennessee, me and Pete, we're in Texas, but we're still almost 4 hours apart. And just, being able to stay in contact and actually knowing, the end goal is to get as many veterans that we can possibly out on the ocean, whether it's small excursion rows or we get them across the Pacific or the Atlantic. But the one thing for me is really just giving back and then getting that veteran the help that they need, whether it's just the ocean row or if we need to get them into like a rehab or if we need to get them into something for TBI or PTSD. We will be able to start at the boat and end with hopefully, happiness with him and his family or her and her family when it's all said and done. That's my goal.
Well said, JT.
Yeah, love that.
That was like a work of art.
Like your pitch deck, like the tweaks you made on the pitch deck.
Yeah,
it's just a work.
I loved it. You covered everything. I mean, I love like just doing this right here. You mentioned friends breaking apart. It's what we all go through it, but just getting back together on a weekly basis, and we're constantly doing stuff together. Like this is not my day job. I have to do corporate life every single day, but every week I get to meet up with my buddies again. And, we get to be ourselves, but also train for something and be excited about something and go through challenges together. Like all the things that I think make life exciting, but this isn't for a paycheck. It's for the excitement and the camaraderie that come with it.
Hopefully it gets to a place for you guys where you can make the decision if that's something that you want to do.
That'd be really cool.
That to me is,
we've got ideas.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
We've got ideas.
Yeah, we're doing what good teams should be doing, and that's trying to project where we want to be, from a year from now, 5 years from now. And we got some, exciting things coming up, and we're looking at being in a place here in not too long, actually getting soldiers or veterans from all over the place to come row with us on shorter rows and really test pilot. Our short row programs.
Now, is Relentless I know Relentless is your first boat, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the only boat you have right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that the boat you guys are going to be using in June?
Yes, that was the name we had chosen for our boat. We had another one that was a loaner, but just had an opportunity to buy a really fantastic boat for ourselves. So we did that, and the name never made it onto the first one, so it belongs to our maiden voyage, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I remember you guys used to have on the website, you used to have a couple of different boats on there. And the one I forgot was one that you were borrowing. You were testing.
Yeah. I don't think we had a boat last time we talked. And that's what I was saying at the beginning of this. You were like, guys, were we on any other podcast before this one?
I don't think so.
I think you were our very first podcast.
Yeah.
We didn't own a boat yet. We definitely didn't have matching shirts.
Well, I think we had them. We just didn't have our stuff.
Just didn't have them on.
Chris and I were just in Charleston the other day. Actually, Blake just got married. It's probably the reason he can't be here today. He got married this weekend.
Congratulations, Blake. When you see this, congratulations, buddy.
Yeah. But we were talking about just on this boat where they got married. We're like, man, we really have like things are going a great direction for us now. There was a lot of turmoil at the beginning, just constantly hitting roadblocks and frankly not knowing a whole lot what we were doing, and learning from all those mistakes. We've come to like a pretty solid spot today, I feel like. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's not as fast as we first predicted. We thought we were like the coolest dudes on the planet. We're gonna, we're gonna rival, Bill Gates and all of them with how much money they have, and then, we got the sharp slap of reality.
Yeah, sometimes it's not you build it and they will come. You've got to find them. But I love that the universe works out the way it's supposed to, and timing is key. Nonprofits are a business.
Yeah.
And you guys have done the great work to make it a business and give it its legs so that you have a super great foundation, and now you can build from that. And it's just up. Everything else is just up, man. And that's the cool thing that I love so much, seeing nonprofits do that. We have a program that we do called Mentor for Good, where we take young nonprofits and we say, hey, look, I don't want you to be one of the statistics. I don't want you to be one of the 67% of nonprofits that fail in the first 5 years. And, it's because your passion outweighed your business savvy. And we want you to have that. So I love that you guys are doing it. And I love that it's nothing but it hasn't been smooth sailing, but it's all, going in a positive direction. Yeah. And that's key.
I think honestly, if it was smooth sailing, we would be in that statistic. I think after 5 years, we would, if things are too easy, we move on with our lives.
Yeah, the amount of lessons we learned, and this is something we were talking about this weekend as well, just simple little lessons on like, is a certain email even worth it? Is it even worth it reaching out to this company, or should we do a little more research on this one? And, is our running fundraisers this way the best way for us to earn, or should we go this direction? Finding like JT's wife found this like really niche, like clothes shopping website that hooked us up in a big way recently. So we've learned a ton of lessons just on general business practice. And I think it's been, very recently I've started to look back on the past couple of years and be like, dude, this is awesome that we made it to where we are today. Because
you got a merch page now.
Yeah,
we didn't have that before, so that's cool. You got a merch page.
All you have to do is look cool, and you're pretty much there.
I'm not there yet. I have some cool swag, but I'm not quite there yet. Scan that QR code, people, and go to their website. Check out their merch page. Get yourself one of those cool T-shirts or a hat. Make sure that you're doing what you can to help these guys out. I would love for you guys to tell me about June. And I told you, hey, I shared with you that in June I'm going to be in Nicaragua, and you guys are going to be out on the ocean. So tell me about what's happening with you guys.
Yes, it's just, kind of a crazy story where things just fall into place out of nowhere. But, we had a meeting in, I want to say December, and we were looking at our funds and kind of where we're tracking, and just trying to do some forward planning. And we're like, hey, we might be in a position where we have to shift another year. We were so close to getting our boat paid off, but then, there's the race fee and, this and that. And so we said, okay, by March 1st, if we aren't at this point, we need to shift it. And there's another, nonprofit called Rangers Row that are kind of our like all veteran competition. We joked about it for months that, we're competing against another all veteran team and this and that. And,
they're also special operations.
Yeah. So the closed door, crap talking was going on and stuff, but all in good fun. And, just so happened to, one of the guys lives in Clarksville. He had his boat out at some function that I didn't even know was a boat show, essentially. And my wife looked over and saw the boat and beelined at his wife, and we got to talking, and they kind of told him where we're at. He kind of told us where they were at, and the next day he calls and says, hey, we got a guy that's unfortunately had a hernia, and we're down to 3, and no one wants to row the ocean with just 3 people. So, people do, but not, no one wants to do that for their first time. So I got back with the team, just let them know, like, hey, this weird thing just happened to me. We talked about it, talked with them, kind of formed this alliance or partnership, if you will, because they have the same sort of mission. And then, it's just been uphill from there. Got 2 of us on their boat. So now there's going to be 5 people on the boat, which is pretty tight, but the rest cycle is a little bit better. So that's nice.
Yeah.
And
so one person's always in the cabin resting while the other 4 are rowing. Is that the?
No, so it'll always be 2 on, 3 off, except for the first week.
Okay.
Yeah, the first week is kind of the roughest week. You're getting past the Arctic winds coming down and the current, and you're kind of fighting it sideways a little bit. So, you try to get out of it as quick as you can. So the first week will be about 3 on, 2 off.
Okay.
Probably not all the time, but it'll be majority of the time. But once we get past that shelf, and I'm not going to say smooth sailing, but we're smooth sailing past the 700 meters or 700 miles, and we're smooth sailing to Hawaii. We'll go to 2 on and 3 off, and it looks like the schedule will be, you'll row for 2 hours, take a 2-hour break, row for another 2 hours, but then you get a 4-hour break.
Wow.
So every 2 cycles you get a 4-hour break, and kind of a game changer with practicing with just 4 people, and you're getting 2 on, 2 off the entire time. That 4 hours is magical. So
I can only imagine. Only imagine.
They took us in and partnered with us, and it's been fantastic. Great group of dudes. Very much in line with what we're trying to do. They're very heavy on raising money for soldier suicide issues and veteran suicide issues, given to great organizations. So we're super stoked to not only get in on the crossing and then pad me and JT's credentials for when we want to get people on our boats to teach them how to do it, but we're also helping them with their cause as well. So it's been
very cool,
absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Very cool. Do you guys end up getting sponsors from like Cliff Bars or anybody like that to give you for like food during this time period? Because I know space has got to be, you only have so much space, and there's 5 dudes on a boat. So I'm imagining that your meals are like, these high calories / whether it's MREs or it's these bars. I mean, I'm thinking about the space. So I'm thinking like you've got to have more.
You're thinking right on. It's definitely freeze-dried meals for the most part.
JT, you wanna send it on what our snack packs and all that look like? It's pretty intense.
So we have just our snack packs alone is about 3,000 calories. Okay?
Wow.
And so then you got a meal on top of that, which is another, 2,000 to 3,000. And so, I mean, you literally are putting about 7,000 or 8,000 calories, that you're really forcing yourself to eat. And so I will say we are horrible at it. We have to make ourselves eat because, you're just rowing, and by the time you get done and you just want to sit down for a few minutes because you're going to be right back, but we have to make ourselves eat, and so
absolutely.
When you start putting that many calories in, it doesn't take long. You're like, okay, good Lord, man, half this snack pack, I really don't feel like eating anymore. And so our first couple of rows with the Range Oar row, we were not putting the calories that we should have. So the last row, we kind of just made each other, hey, we got to eat. And so you also got to realize that during those 2 hours that you're rowing, as soon as you get off, it's not like, hey, I'm climbing in the back of the, of the boat. I'm going to lay down for 2 hours. You got to clean yourself. You got to get all your stuff ready for the, your next 2 hour row. And then it all depends on, because I'm in the back of the boat. So, our job is to make sure that we have hot water ready, the food ready for the guys. And so we'll have, we'll make everything and then we'll lay down. and then we'll eat our food once we get up off of our 2 hours. But we're having that food ready for the guys when they get off. They can eat, or they can eat while they're trying to row. So they are a lot of other things that you have to do on this boat besides just, hey, we rowed for 2 hours, we get to lay down for 2 hours.
Sure.
And so the guys in the front, like Chris and our skipper, they're running all the, all the nav, all of our social media, just making sure everything on the boat, the AIS, all that stuff is working. So all the guys in the back, we're doing the food, making sure that we got plenty of water on the boat, making sure that, the boat's, everything's anchored down. We check all this stuff. And so, again, you got to realize, like we said, space in the boat. So you really don't want to be walking all over this boat, because once you start leaning the boat, it's hard for the guys rowing. So us coming up with a plan of what the guys in the back's going to do versus what the guys in the front's going to do, how we're going to row the 2 hours, 2 off, 4 hours, and then the good thing is on our last row, we put these little beepers. They're like timers in each of the cabins. So as soon as you lay down, you start this thing. So, we set it for about 10 minutes prior to our 2 hours. So once it goes off, we need to get up, get prepped. So we're keeping ourselves to a timeline that this guy's only going to row 2 hours and he's getting off. And it's not, hey, I came on 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm 15 minutes late. Because you look at it, if you're a minute late in 35 days, that adds up. I mean, you're almost 4 or 5 days not rowing. So we're holding ourselves accountable that, hey, this alarm set for you to get up, get yourself ready, get on the oars, let the next guy get off. So, and those are some things that we've learned along the way. Because, a guy with a watch, after a while you get tired. You're like, okay, I don't know if it's been 2 hours, an hour and a half. After like 3 days on the water, you're like, okay, I don't even know what time it is.
I don't even know. What day is it? Yeah. Where are we? Yeah. I just see water.
And I'm just glad that me and Chris got the opportunity, to row with Range or Row. We've learned a lot from their nonprofit that is going to help us with our nonprofit. They've done a good job on their advertisement side of the house and getting their, a lot of donations that they're going to, offer those up for us as soon as hopefully the row's over. If they decide, not to stay in, or if they do decide, they're still going to offer those things for us to be able to continue with our boat as well. So, I mean, it's for a win-win for us. I mean, that's how I feel about it.
I'd love to see that. I absolutely love to see other nonprofits. We do it. We're doing it right now. But I want to encourage nonprofit leaders that watch this, and our friends that are dealing with nonprofit leaders, put the hubris to the side and let's help each other, because the impact we can have when we do that is absolutely incredible. So I love that. I love that people are working together, that nonprofits are coming together to do that. It's fantastic.
That's crazy, because Chris had kind of laid out, we had this big decision point on push to the right or not. So we had like an option 1 and option 2. And this one came out of left field. So like the first casualty is always the plan. I joke about all of the plans that we've built, like these micro steps to get to our objectives, every single one of them has changed somewhere along the process. It's like, and we were like, Blake and I, a few weeks back, were like belly laughing at this, because we've had all these ideas. We get laser focused on them, but like classic special operations fashion, it's like you kind of work your way around the objective. It did not go exactly as I planned at all, but it got us there. It got us further. And I feel like, kind of blessed that we ran into Range or Row. I mean, what do they call Range or?
Yeah, Range Oars Row.
I always want to call them Ranger Brothers.
Yeah.
So I mess that up every time, but great people. And for us, we're getting some of our guys across the ocean. I mean, at the end of the day, our mission was to get veterans into this pipeline and cross the ocean. And the first guys that get to do it are Chris and JT. And that's pretty exciting. It's like incredible.
That's
for us.
awesome. Yeah.
And
awesome.
Circle back to you, Jason, on like how we're doing our outreach for food and all that stuff. I feel like it's very like old school. We're literally sending people, pitch decks, sending them through our social media and all that stuff, and just being like, hey, this is what we're doing. Do you want to be a part of it and help us out? And we've had a lot of wonderful companies give us what we need, not necessarily a sponsorship, but it's saving, the organization like $1,000 and, just the little hydration packets. You know what I mean? That way we can fund more money over to the nonprofits that we want to give to for Rain George Row, but or get discount codes. But we haven't really hit too big on a company that's like, love what you guys are doing. Let's go ahead and outfit you with that, insert product here for your future rows for this certain amount of time. And so, we had a meeting yesterday, was talking about how do we get to that point where we're partnering with, insert company name here to give us stuff or fund us in a certain way, so that when we have soldiers on our boats rowing, we know that, Mountain House, I'll just plug them, they're giving us all the food we need, all the dry goods we need for this many rows a year, so we can, plan for that.
Cool. Yeah. Well, you guys make sure that I have your pitch deck. And if you'll email me and say, hey, I need these things and we're going to be doing this in the future, that's one of the things that I'm very excited about what we've been able to do in just a few years ourselves.
Nice.
And that piece, that sponsor piece, where we have sponsors for the show tonight. We have sponsors for our Time to Change podcast. We have sponsors for every single, we raised $6,000 in sponsorships for our March 29th event that we had to fund what we're doing in TK, Nicaragua.
Nice.
So that, to me, that's something where send me that stuff, guys. And I'm happy to tag some people, and especially in the sports and culinary world, I know a lot of those people, and if they don't know somebody, they'll say, hey, I don't know, I am not that person, but I'll get you somebody. So, I mean, it's a great community, and especially for what you guys are doing. You guys are doing such great work. So as much as we can help out as a community and rally around what you're doing, just send that kind of stuff to me, and I'll see what I can do to help out. But
yeah, I'll take you up on that. Absolutely. We talked about doing a registry, like a wedding registry, except for just the things that we need, ins and outs. And maybe that would help. Like that exercise alone would be like, all right, here's the things that we should send to Chasen, because there'll be recurring expenses such as freeze dried food.
Yeah, you could create it in it's like a Google Docs or Google form. Yeah. And then when someone clicks on it and they take it and they own it and they're doing it, then it's off the list. So no one else duplicates it unless you actually need it. So yeah, I love that, guys. Man, I appreciate you guys coming back on and talking about what you're doing. I can't wait to get this out on the airways for people that haven't seen it, and talk more about how they can get involved with what you're doing. I really appreciate the work that all of you are doing, and thank you so much for your service, and thank you so much for what you're doing with Corsa Racing. So
thank you,
man.
Yeah, thanks, Jason.
Time flies when you're having fun, brothers.
I know. I was just looking at the clock. I didn't realize we'd gone that long.
Yeah, but hey, I wanted you guys to get your rest, do the things that you do, and we will catch you next time. You've been on the People Community Live. This is a show where we talk to people like these guys at Corsa Racing and tell you, our audience, about the amazing things that people are doing out in the world. So thank you guys again. We will catch you next time. Take it easy.
Take care.